That breaking news, the heartbreaking realization the police have found the body of a Dundee mom who disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago. Now, we just talked to the couple who found her SUV on their property today. This is KOIN 6 News at 4 o'clock. I'm Dan Tilkin.
And I'm Jennifer Hoff. Let's take a look now at where this is all happening today. It's on a pretty rural road called Gopher Valley Road, which is off Highway 18 near Sheridan, Oregon, which is just south from where this mother is from. And right now we're waiting for a news conference to start to get an update and more answers from investigators who are looking into this case.
We do expect that press conference to begin in about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, as I said, we just talked with a property owner who found Jennifer Huston's SUV. His name is Vern Clemmer, and he told our Ken Body he was going out to cut wood on his tractor, and he drove out to check on part of his property he hadn't seen for a while. That's when he says he saw the dark green SUV. We're going to go live now to the press conference.
I have a short statement to make before taking questions. This is Captain Jeff Kosmicki with me. There is every indication that we have recovered the body of Jennifer Huston. We do not suspect foul play at this time, and there's nothing to suggest that the public should be alarmed. Because this is a pending death investigation, we are not releasing the apparent cause of death. The Oregon State Police Crime Lab, along with Newberg Dundee Police detectives, are processing the scene. Our purpose is not to leave any unanswered questions for our investigation, for the family, or for the public. When the investigation is completed, additional information will be released. The police department wants to pass on our condolences to the Huston family. They've asked for privacy and do not wish to speak to the media. Additionally, we'd like to thank all of our law enforcement agencies that have assisted us, as well as the general public, throughout this investigation. Thank you. If you have some questions, this would be a time we'd answer those.
Captain Kosmicki, were there any sort of weapons or bottles of medication or alcohol that were spotted in or around the vehicle or her body?
When I left, the scene was still being processed by the Oregon State Police Forensic Division. So that I don't know. I can't give you that answer right now.
Any idea how much gasoline was left in her car?
Sorry?
Gas, how much gas was in the tank?
The vehicle's going to be processed. It has not been processed. It's going to be moved. We're going to move that to a separate location where it's easier processed for the forensic investigators.
Captain, can you say how long she had been there, how long the car had been there?
I can't say how long. Today was the first time that we were notified, obviously, but I can't tell you with any certainty exactly how long. The medical examiner may be able to give us a ballpark, but I don't know at this time.
Captain, can you give us a better timeline of just how everything started to unfold today?
Well, earlier today, detectives and I had met. We do a weekly and sometimes daily briefing, certainly on this case. We were just going over the day's events, things that maybe we want to backtrack, go over again, maybe make some more phone calls. And we were contacted by the Yamhill County Communications Center. That was just before 10:30. That a homeowner out in rural Sheridan, Yamhill County, had found the vehicle. We were certain, because the person read the plate to the dispatcher, that's the information that was passed along to us.
And what happened after that? Your detectives went out to the scene and then confirmed everything and then located her body? We
asked for the Yamhill County deputy sheriffs to go to the scene and to see if we could render any medical. We didn't have any other information other than they found the vehicle, but I want to make sure that if she was in need, the person was in need for medical assistance, we got that first. Once they arrived, we arrived shortly after. We were en route immediately. Once we arrived, we spoke with deputies, and they said that the car was in fact there, confirmed the plate, but they did not locate the person.
Approximately how many miles of that road, on Gopher Valley Road, was the car located?
From the police department, it's about 30 miles, really rough.
From 18 up to the scene?
That would just be a guess on my part. I've been out in the area a lot. I would say 5 to 7 miles probably would be a good estimate.
Captain, was it anything about the property that the property owner noticed was askew and then made him or her look further into it?
Not at all.
How is her family doing this evening?
I haven't spoken with the family, but obviously I would imagine they're probably pretty upset.
Along those same lines, you guys have been, for the last week and a half, obviously hoping for the best outcome here, not only for the family, but for you guys as law enforcement. Can you talk about just how upsetting it was to learn of today's developments?
I would say probably the most upsetting is for the family, for the officers. It can't compare to what the family's going through. Go ahead.
How big of a property are we talking about where this property owner didn't realize that the car had been there?
I don't know exactly how big it is. It's the area where the vehicle was found was probably a good 1/8 of a mile away from the residence, driving distance. It was on a separate driveway, so it was a little bit removed. I don't want to give you any kind of appearance that it was next to a residence, or that's quite a distance, and it's a pretty thick canopy of trees, so it would be difficult to see from the air.
So it was off Gopher Valley Road then, on another side road?
I would describe it more as a driveway. So it's not a road. It's more of a driveway, but it's not a main driveway that somebody would drive.
Her body was also found outside of the car. Can you speak to how far away it was, and if it seems like she wandered there herself?
I'm told that it would probably be about 50 yards, maybe a little bit less.
The search spanned all across Yamhill County, social media, all across the country. This area seems, though, to be a little ways away from the areas that were concentrated on here in the county. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the whole entire county was checked as best as you can. It was flown. The rivers were checked. We've asked our partners to maybe drive down roads that aren't normally driven down. Sometimes you get into a routine as you're a police officer, and maybe a road it dead ends, so you don't go down there. Maybe it's not a routine part of your patrol. We've asked all of the law enforcement agencies to check those extra roads, those sorts of things. We've had sightings or tips. I want to say, I think the farthest away was Michigan and Texas, and then, as you know, the Washington. None of those were necessarily any more significant than the other. I'm not really sure how one became more important than another, but they were basically equally. We received tips from all around this half of the nation, really.
So, Jeff, can you say with certainty that you guys actually flew over that area or drove by that area where she was found at some point over the last week and a half?
I'm pretty certain we did fly over that area. When I say we, law enforcement flew over that area. But again, that was one of the first things that I noticed is it's a very, very heavy canopy. So, they're just, as you know, a lot of Yamhill County is pretty rural and wooded areas. So that would make it absolutely difficult to find.
When are you expecting some initial information from the medical examiner?
We may have some, I'm not really sure. We could have something as early as tomorrow, but that's just speculation. It just depends on them. I don't know, the workload that they have that's backed up. But I'm sure that this will be a top priority case for them, as well as us.
So when you say that there's no indication of foul play, had she collapsed away from the car?
At this time, I don't really want to get into that. We've still got some work to do.
Was she, Jeff, still wearing the outfit that we had been reporting over the last week and a half?
Yes.
And we had reported that all signal was lost from her cell phone. When you look at the video of the car, it doesn't appear that there was any sort of crash or anything like that. Do you guys have any insight as to why that happened and how that happened?
Can you repeat? I'm not really sure. Could you ask me that again? I'm not really sure what you're asking.
Sure. So we had reported that her cell phone was turned off, or you guys lost her signal from that phone the day that she went missing. And it appeared that she wasn't in any sort of car wreck based on the structure.
I understand your question now. So how do I explain that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, it's very difficult. It would only be speculation that was deliberate. I don't believe that was a crash at this time. Again, I have not been inside the tape, but I was out there on scene, and from what I gained from detectives, it doesn't appear to be a crash that caused this.
Was the phone near her or in the car?
I don't even know that we have recovered the phone yet. We're hoping to.
So are you saying then that her going missing, the cell phone, all of this was a deliberate act on her part?
I'm not saying that at all. We're going to put it all together. And obviously we need some results from the medical examiners. We want to make sure that we're 100% on everything before we give it out. We're still open-minded. We're still going to take precautions. That's why we had the Oregon State Police Crime Lab, the Forensic Division, come in. They're very slow, methodical, and excellent. They do excellent work. So that's why we decided to have them come in. And it is a rural area, and they have mobile teams to come in just for that.
Can you speak a little bit as to the condition of the body? There was a news release saying
No, sir, I can't.
that there was an odor.
I'm not going to release or talk about that.
Okay.
Anything else?
The property familiar, was she familiar with that property? Did the family say they'd ever been near there?
You know, I haven't spoke with the family. I'm not sure.
And just to clarify, you're not looking for any other suspects or anything like that nature at this time?
We're keeping an open mind, but I think we've got a pretty good idea of what happened.
Thank you. We want to thank you all, too, for your assistance throughout this. The media obviously plays a big role in assisting the police department in these types of cases.